Hey everybody, I'm Bob Bakert. We're here with David Becker, and we've been shooting the shit for a few minutes before we started. And before we get into your project, I just want to remind people that Jazz Guitar Today is, I think we're in our eighth year now, and we appreciate you guys subscribing and telling people about us. And we've got a loyal community that grows every month, and we appreciate that very, very much. We do have a Facebook page. We've got an Instagram page, and something else that's kind of exciting is we've started pages where you can see who's playing in concert where, and that's something that we're curating it pretty tightly right now. But for example, David, if you want to send us your schedule,
We'll do
I
that.
think it's just. I honestly don't know how it's actually working because my partners are like, they're the ones that do all the tech stuff behind the scenes. But if you send an email to Joe Perry, I think that would probably figure that out. Well, that being said, it's great seeing you.
Great to see you.
You're everywhere. You're everywhere. Please say hello to your lovely wife, Lori.
I will do that. And
I
she said,
appreciate that. So the last time we talked, you were still touring a lot with Planets,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
and I did a project with Paul Wertico. So yeah, in
yeah,
between.
that's true. What was the name of that title?
Tuxedo Man.
Okay, that was in 2025. Right. We did talk about you're absolutely right about that. I just remember vividly planets because of the graphic.
Right.
The graphic is so strong in my head. So before we talk about your new project, which is very exciting, let's talk about you and the planets and this astrophysicist that you want to be or are.
It came by just osmosis or happenstance, so to speak. I mean, the thing about this is the Planets project got started back about 4 or 5 years ago with Chad Malum, who runs Space Channel, asking me if I could improvise music for each planet, which I
Right.
did at Empty Theater during COVID. And that became a dedicated series that they showed multiple times, got a lot of views. So we basically transferred that into like a live show where I do a 90-minute show with the pieces of each planet, but there's other things as well that I include, and it's a fun project. I mean, in fact, I just got back from New Zealand where I did a jazz and blues festival. I got to play with a big band. I got to play with a guitar ensemble. But the solo set that I did an abridged Planets presentation because they wanted me to do that. So we had the videos in the theater, and I did maybe about 7 or 8 pieces from Planets, including the new
Wow.
one, and it was great. And people love it. It's such a fun project because I'm playing solo guitar, but I've got loop pedals, so I can be anything from just that to orchestral things, and it's all live. The videos are what they are, the length is what it is, but each piece, even though they're dedicated pieces, they change night to night, and it's
Right.
a lot of fun for me to do that and be able to challenge myself in that setting. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's really funny the whole well, you're playing with a big band, you're an educated musician, you're not just Joey Bag of Donuts, even though I dig Bag of Donuts. I've got all of his records
Me
and most
too.
of his CDs and a few of his
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
But you're a studied school musician and you probably got, I don't know, 25 projects to your credit, something like that. I mean,
Something like that. Yeah, I've
yeah, it's
lost.
it's a bunch. You played with a whole lot of people and have the respect of a whole lot of people, including Norm out at Norman's Rare Guitars. I got to get him on the show one day.
You do, yeah. You should definitely get Norm on there. You'd have a
Uh,
blast with him.
if next time you talk to him, ask him if he's interested,
I'm
because
sure you.
he's hard. He's hard for me to get through to because he's a little isolated. But
I'll, I'll I'll reach out to him and let him know.
yeah,
I'm
it'd be
sure.
great. I'd love to just get him for a few minutes, and I want to talk to him about the state of archtop guitars, jazz guitars.
Yeah,
People playing Strats and Tellys to play jazz. Just get his take on it because I love the guy. I watch his stuff all the time.
yeah. Norm's great.
Anyway, so everybody, you're a you're a well-known commodity, and I mean that in a complimentary way. People know who you are and they respect your playing. And your composition now is just totally, um, you do a great job of basically scoring the movie, if you know what I'm saying, you know.
I appreciate that.
I was watching the latest thing. So let's get the elephant out of the room or cat
Okay.
out of the bag or whatever that imagery is. You have a brand new project just came out last month called Carol's Crater.
Yes.
So,
And
and it along the space theme,
mhm.
tell us about Carol's Crater.
So I did a jazz guitar festival in March out in California, and Denny Tedesco, Denny, Tommy's son, was there because he made Immediate Family and the Wrecking Crew, and he saw me perform Planets, and
Oh,
he said
wow.
to me, "Have you ever thought of doing Planets in 3D?" And I said, "I would love to." So he has a guy that he knows that does 3D filming. So in any case, he wanted to, from me, from the Space Channel, some stats about the viewership so we could get it to this guy in Canada. And as I was getting the information from Chad Malum, Chad said, because I've got some planet shows coming up, he said, you should integrate the Artemis 2 mission that's just happening now and put it into planets. Because we've talked about adding the moon feature to the whole thing.
Right.
So and then he told me the story about that they named a crater after Commander Reed Wiseman's late wife.
Oh,
He
wow.
didn't know the crew was going to do that, but they did that as a tribute to him. And I read about it. I thought, wow, this is incredible. So he said you should, address that subject. And her name was Carol. And so I literally sat in this chair. I pulled out this guitar. This is the new David Becker that I just got from Heritage. If you haven't noticed, it's a little different than the other one.
Wait a minute, the Million Miler is gone?
I have retired the Million Miler for a while. This is the new one, but they went out of their way to really do
David,
some
hang
great.
on one second. Can you turn up your microphone just a little bit?
Yeah, give me one second
Just
here.
a little bit.
Uh,
You're a little bit in the background.
okay, hold on. It's always a hassle with this.
Yeah,
Where's
just
my,
like one nudge.
yeah, hang on. I gotta find my sound. Where's my sound? There it is. Come on, it was like audio. Here it is. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, input volume. Is that better?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
want me to start that again, or do you want to use what you
No, no,
got?
it's plenty good enough. Five, four,
Okay,
three, two, one.
here we go. So in any case, Chad told me that I sat here and I did this kind of drum groove with my brushes, and I played this chord progression that just came from nowhere, and I literally looped it, and that was the tune. And and what's interesting is I coupled an A and a B section with it, where the harmonies kind of do this interesting weave. And I was so excited about it that I literally left the loop pedal going for 2 hours. I mean, I could turn it off, I didn't hear it, but I wanted to be able to write it and record it and figure out what I'm doing. Because a lot of times you have an idea to do something, and when you play it, it comes out completely different. And in this case, it was a combination of that. But I hit on something, and then I went ahead and recorded it. I sent it out to California. It was mixed there by Klaus Trelby and Ken Calais from Artist Max and Marshmallow Sky Studios, and we released it digitally on May 11th. So it's on all the platforms. And what I did is I reached out to Reed Wiseman personally to let him know what we're doing.
Yeah.
And first, I got a response back. It was an automated response saying, I'm on mission and I'm not online, and this won't be read, and in emergencies, contact so and so. But then I get this late night message saying, I would love to hear what you have. Here's my private email.
Oh,
So I
wow.
reached out to him and sent him an advance copy of it, and he came back and he said, this is so lovely to listen to. Thank you for doing this. And then we made the video, which you saw,
Yeah.
the official video, which will be the video that I do live, and it's also the official video for the song. And he said, this is a treasure in big, big letters. And then I also, when I was down in New Zealand, I performed the piece to an audience for the first time, and I got their response from my phone from the stage, and I sent it to Reed Wiseman, and he was overwhelmed by the feedback. So
I believe you sent me the video of you performing it in New Zealand.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a little
So
snippet of it on YouTube. So
yeah, no, well that's pretty incredible.
Well, it is because it's. I'm grateful that the person that we should have the support from, we have it, and the fact that he really likes the music and is supportive of the project. It's one of those things where it's not a sophisticated piece of music, but it just fits the overall vibe, and for me it was just a pleasure, and it's great to play live. I really have gotten into playing it because they're just the way that the harmonies weave in together is so much fun. And it's Lori heard it when I was working on it. She says, "What is that?" And I said, "Well, that's a new piece of music that I'm doing for this piece, Carol's Crater." So that's always a good indicator when your wife goes, "What is that?" Because she hears me all the time.
Especially, I was going to say, hard to get her excited. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but
But
I mean, but that's she does hear you all the time. Well, what's interesting about that, you said a couple of things I'd like to just touch on a little bit. One is it's a simple piece of music, and to me, most of the best stuff is simple. Da
yes,
da da da.
yep,
I mean,
exactly,
I
yeah.
mean, come on. It's like the song yesterday. Someone said, "Oh man, yesterday I could have written that." It's only, oh yeah, well, go ahead, have at it, brother.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
writing writing music that people respond to, over and over and over again is, that's the art. It's conveying one emotion to to another person, your emotion to other people, and writing that story on top of their story. It's tremendous. So whenever I hear people say it's a simple piece of music, I say, well, I don't know, "Feeling All Right" probably sold, I don't know, 10
Yes,
million copies, two
probably. Yeah.
chords. I mean,
Well, when I say simple, just the structure of it is quite simple in
but
terms
the
of the
B
second
section,
section. Yeah,
the way you put that B set, what are you doing? If you don't mind,
sure.
pulling
I can
back the
show you.
kimono a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
So,
So
so the first section is that E minor
first
you're
section,
playing?
first section is this. I'll put it in the loop pedal, so it goes.
Okay, E minor, B minor, A minor. Yeah,
That's the main section, and the melody.
yeah.
Now here's the second section.
I love that. That's so good.
So that I was playing over and over again over that first initial section, soloing and melodies, and then I suddenly heard that chord progression going over the top of it. So what it is a G
B and a
to a
C,
C to a D sus,
right?
and it weaved in so perfectly with
It's
what is
beautiful.
underneath.
And
It's
it lifts everything up
yeah,
huge.
yeah.
Man, people call those cowboy chords. I call them. They're my favorites. That's my
Well,
favorite.
they're Bach chords,
Oh, I know.
and what's interesting is that it just naturally did that. And what's
Yeah.
cool too is that when I do it live, because I mean, I overdubbed a couple things, but I can create the same vibe. In fact, I'm going to be integrating because I used a synthesizer for the bass note. I'm going to be putting that in the live show too. And that low E will hold entirely through that section, even though I changed the notes on the recording. But as I was kind of rehearsing it here at home, it works too over that
So you're
section.
you're holding a low E over the G, C, D.
Yeah, on the recording it moves. It goes G to C to D, but
Right.
in the live setting, it stays underneath and it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't. There's no clash. It's
Yeah.
one of those things that just it happens naturally, and I think those are the moments that you're looking for. That lightning in a bottle that just
Well,
happens.
yeah. I mean, you got what, 6 6 3 9 going on there. I mean, in the bass.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, that's. I mean, I think it sounds great. I mean, I really. when I heard that, I went, okay. I mean, I like everything about it. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a really, really cool piece of music.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you. Well,
it's just, it's
the
really,
response.
really. So let me ask you a question. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't normally ask these kind of questions, but I'm going to today because I don't know why.
You
So
can.
you're playing an E minor, and then you're going to like you're playing around B minor, A minor, or are you thinking, C6, D6? I mean, what are you thinking about there?
So I wasn't really thinking too much other than that this E minor to D,
Okay, you're
I
thinking of
want
it
to
as
get
a
the A
D
minor
chord, not a.
7, but I made a mistake in terms of the execution of it, or not a mistake, but it was a
Yeah.
happy accident. I went, and then for some reason I did that little arpeggio. Now
So go
the
ahead.
second time would be the same thing, but I went like this. There's a space, right? So
Yeah.
the second time I'm not playing the E minor 7, I'm playing just the low E with the D over top and to the C.
So
And
you're not.
then
Go ahead.
and that little motif is what created the other motif on top in that B section. It's just one of those things that musical little mistakes or whatever you're trying to do, but
Right.
happenstance creates something completely different, and that was what's cool about it.
So it's all. I mean, are you thinking? I just. Are you thinking E minor, D, C there? I mean, are you?
Class E minor to A minor, but
Are you
via
thinking you're calling that an A? So you're not playing the top note then?
well, okay. So when I do the first one,
Yeah.
there's that. So C over A. It's like C minor
Yeah.
minor.
Right. Yeah. Okay, you're coming back with the B.
Right, and then
I love
and
that. This is great.
yeah, I
I
mean
mean,
it's a really interesting motif because when I analyze it now from afar, I go, wow, that's really interesting. I never would have thought of that. If I had sat down and said, I want to write something like that, it would have just been like I would have been hammering away for hours.
it's the rhythm of it, the phrasing of it
Yeah,
that really it's just a cool, da, 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 and the way you let that the third chord in the progression ring.
right.
Da, da, da.
There's space, right.
And there's your spaceship taking off right there.
Well, because it started off with this. I mean, I had the percussion thing, and that I think just the feel of it is what
What
created me.
is that? I saw that in the on the video with the TV people. What is it? Is that just like a
So
business card or something? What?
it's just a paper card that I got at a copy shop in Germany when I lived there, and I've used that for many, doing that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And so I can just create like a
right. It's like a mute. It keeps the overtone
but
sound.
then these guys come into play, the
I love.
brushes. There's the bass drum. So that was going, and obviously it's a certain amount of, it's whatever it is, a one bar phrase.
You would not know those aren't percussion drums.
Right. So then when I do the
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
and
like that a lot.
yeah, so that's what that does. And like I said, I played it for hours and hours because
It's got
that's
a
a good
feel. It's got a
sign
great
when you
feel.
yeah, yeah, it was like there it was. And I don't really know why I thought of that feel when I thought of Carol's Crater and about Carol, his wife, but that's
Yeah.
just that was what was there. And a lot of times those instincts, like the tune Gravitationally Bound from the last album, which has the planet pieces on it, it's the
Right.
same thing. There's a sound and an idea in your head, and you're just trying to pull it out. Well, what is it? And without being too, okay, it's A minor to D. And I'm trying to be organic, I guess, in that sense to see what comes out because I've written so many pieces of music, stuff that I've spent, weeks and months on, where every note is analyzed and this goes to here. But when these things come to play, especially because it's part of the Planets project, which is to
Right.
a larger degree improvised, I want to keep some of that natural improvisation to the project. So the pieces that I'm going to play, I don't want to give too much forethought to. You know,
I listened to four versions of it, and I thought it was lovely. And they're all different. You know,
yeah,
they're I mean, you know, they're all it's the same tune. You know that, but it's not it's not a cookie cutter. You're not stamping it out. You're improvising on it, and you're playing
yeah.
slightly differently each time, and all of that. Um, so all right, so let me ask you a question about when you're the people are some people are going to want to know this. So when you're playing lines on top of that,
Mhm.
what are you thinking there? Are you thinking A minor? Are you thinking the key of D major? Are you thinking G major? I mean, what are you when you're playing melodically? I'm not really talking about like, if you want to play out on it, but when you're playing melodically, what are you thinking about?
More triad kind of stuff because I mean you could think E minor.
Yeah.
So I'm using a lot of you could play B minor, or you could play but occasionally I'll throw in the little bluesier sound. It just
Yeah.
seemed to fit, especially in the beginning of the tune because there's that space.
Right.
And I wanted the space to just be the space. So yeah, to a larger degree, it's based on E minor, G major, but you can block out the B minor and the A minor triads, the C, because when it goes to that section, that's pretty much G.
Yeah, that's
And that's fun too because there's a lot of different possibilities for that. The melody with the fifths just seemed to work really well against that.
well,
Uh,
Here's the thing about it that I mean I like picked up on like right away because when I first listened to it, I had the advantage, and I hope other people do as well, of watching it in context of the video that's really the soundtrack of.
right.
So if you think of it as, I mean, it is a standalone piece. There's no question about it, but it's almost, it's like I don't have anything better, so this is where I'm going to go. If you're watching a James Bond movie and you hear the soundtrack, I mean, or Star Wars, you hear the soundtrack to Star Wars by itself, it's a pretty nice piece of music.
Right.
And I mean, there's no question about it because they used to do that with when the pops, back in
Mhm.
the day. They probably still do. But when you put it with the movie, it's like it's okay. And so it's one thing to do a nice piece of music, it's another thing to do a nice movie. I want to talk about that in a second. But when you really do a great job of telling of enhancing the visual story, because people see visuals are
Mhm.
the first thing. When you enhance the visual story with the musical story, that's a tremendous amount of creativity and art to be able to have that eye and say, what does that mean to me? And then take in the story of Carol and, what does that mean to me? And how does that make me feel? And how does this and what is that image doing to me? And what do I want people to feel how I feel? All those things it's just like really, it's really cool, David. It's really cool.
Thank you. Well, I think it goes way back to, I think we talked about this once before. The very first piece of music that I, as a child, really realized was Edvard Grieg's Concerto Piano in A minor. And I listened to that piece.
What not happy birthday or
No, this was my parents had big classical collection, and I would put that on and I would stand in front of the little stereo and conduct with a Tinker Toy. And I love the opening. And of
right.
course, there's one theme in there, which actually there's a couple themes, but the first one, right? And there's also the main theme, which I realized as a kid. Now, I didn't know musical terms, I didn't know major and minor, but there was a picture hanging on the wall that my parents had a painting of the Zugspitze, which is the highest mountain in Germany. And that mountain had snow covered on it. And
Wow.
next to it was a sort of a crest that was dark. And when the major pieces would come in that music, I would see that mountain with the snow. And when the minor pieces came, I saw that dark image, and that's just how I see music. And
How
so
old were you then?
I was probably five or six, maybe.
So what? What are the little what are the child songs that we all listen to? The Mouse and Hickory Dickory
Sure.
Dock, and so the rest of us are doing Hickory Dickory Dock, and you're doing Bartok. That
Well, I'm doing Edvard Grieg. Yeah, I mean, well, my parents just had a big collection, and of course, I had two older brothers, so we had all kinds of music.
yeah.
But
So you
that
were
piece in particular just really spoke to me. And what I really also recognized was that theme that ends the piece that goes. I think. One second. Anyway, that's the main piece, and they do it. He does it in major and minor, but it came in the middle, and I recognized it. And when it was at the end, I couldn't wait to hear it again. It was this anticipation of this crescendo, and for some reason, that I mean, the piece is like 20 minutes long, and it just spoke to me in a way where I just, even now when I listen to it, because I hadn't listened to it for a long time, and I rediscovered it again, I realized how much that piece influenced me in
right.
my melodic and harmonic concepts. Probably because I was just a kid absorbing something that I had no idea what it was, and it was all just intuitive.
What's really interesting is one of the things that I've taken to in the past I was always like, oh, here are the chords, now I'm going to blow on it, and I stopped doing that when I just play them. I just pick out the melody and that the singer is singing, and I'm not picking out melodies of well-known classical pieces and stuff like that because they're musical and they're a little bit easier to play
Right.
compared to trying to emulate what the singer's doing because they don't know what I mean. Most of the time, they don't really know what they're doing. They're bending, they're this or that, they're coming into the note there. There's a slur, it's not quite on the pitch, it's all over the place, and 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 so my point in this is that they're always a lot simpler from a note count point of view, but they're a lot more demanding from an articulation point of view
Absolutely.
to
Yeah.
get them. So when the why I'm saying this is so when you're playing these melodies, the articulation, the phrasing, and everything is so important to make your 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 conservative note choices. When I say conservative, I'm saying there's not you're not playing 50,000 notes on this thing. You're playing a melody. Your note choices have to be played, at a very, very high level in order for them to have impact, for them to land with the ear.
Oh, of
And
course. And
you do a
you have
beautiful
to know
job
what
of that.
yeah, you have to know what to leave out too. There's certain notes that I mean that's true with every piece of music, but there are specifically tunes that I've dealt with, things I've written myself or standards I've played where you can't play certain notes on certain chords. They just
No.
don't resonate. You could play all the notes chromatically, that's great, but when you're trying to address or to, tell the person this is what this is, check out the sound of this. And that really, like you said, the melodic part of it and having those specific notes is really important. And the way that you execute that is
I couldn't agree more. What did Howard Roberts say? He said something about, just pick the scale and throw out the two that don't work.
well, play what you hear, not what
Right.
you
I
know.
know.
That's what Joe Pass said. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, okay. So Carol's Crater is out now.
Hmm.
And you can watch the video on YouTube, correct?
Yes, you
It's
can.
published to
Yes.
YouTube. You can watch the video. And you can see three or four different performances of it, including the live one in New Zealand,
Hmm.
which would have
Yep.
been the premiere of the piece,
Right. Right.
internationally. Does it ever blow your mind that that you're all playing all over the world and doing what you do and hitting audiences from God knows where to God knows where, and you're doing
I'm
it all by yourself with a guitar and a looper.
yeah, I'm grateful for that people are still interested to hear me play and that I get invited to these places and get to do this. But I have to go back to the very first thing that motivated me to be a musician and do it as a living, quote unquote, is when I decided that's what I was going to do. There was nothing that was going to stop me from doing it. And my goal when I was just a teenager, and I was the youngest graduate of GIT in 1981, because at the time, I'm sure there are younger guys that went later on, but most of the guys were like 23, 24. They'd been to
Right.
Berkeley, they'd been here, they'd been there. And when Pat Hicks said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to make records, write my own music, and play in a trio with my brother and tour the world." And he looked at me in that 2 minutes like, "Okay, kid, he just said, don't let this go to your head, but I think you have what it takes to do that." Now, that said, that's nice, but I realized at that moment, that's not going to get me there. I have to do the work. And the funny thing is I never thought in my wildest dreams that I would be on a major record label. And I got signed to MCA Records, one of the youngest. I was the youngest guy on the jazz label,
Yeah.
next to Larry Carlton, the Yellow Jackets, Spyro Gyra, Mike Matheny, Jack DeJohnette. I was like, wow. But
I don't recognize any of those names. Who
yeah,
are they?
exactly. Yeah, they're no names. And to have that opportunity, I still looked at it as like this is, and in fact, I will say this publicly, I got one of the biggest record deals financially that you could get for a first-time record deal. It was worth over $350,000.
Wow.
We got a huge advance. And
That's a big deal.
yeah, it was a 7 album deal. And now we didn't do all 7 albums because the label, after 3 years, changed courses and everybody lost their deal and we went somewhere else. But that said, when I think about it, that's a big chore. Now, I could have sat back and said, I got my record deal. Wow, it's worth this and wonderful. But no, for me, it was always about the completion of each thing. And that's what I tell people. Success is completion. If you want to write something, write it. If you want to play a gig, play a gig. If you want to do this, make sure that the completion is done so you can check off, I did this, and that's the success. All the other stuff is incidental.
That's really funny. It's funny that you say that because I was going to comment on it that um basically the same thing you just said. The reason that you got the opportunity to do Charles Crater is because you finished the Planets project. And the reason you got the Planets project is because you had finished something else. And the reason you got that, and this, you know, it is every piece of music is going to find its audience, assuming it's, not even garbage finds an audience, but it's going to find its audience. And so your music, it resonates with a lot of people. You get invited to places to play. And then when you're there, it resonates with the people that are there and the people that didn't know you before. And now they know you. Now they're inspired to say, "Hey, David, would you be interested in doing this?
Mhm.
I really like what you did there. Can you, would you like to do that? Or would you like to come to our jazz festival in New Zealand, in 2020? What? You know, and it all comes from doing stuff. And that's what, when people ask me, or, what's up, I said, you just gotta, exactly what you just said. You gotta complete, you gotta do. And somebody told me a long, long time ago, God, 25 years ago, when all this just was in its infancy,
Mhm.
content is king,
Yes.
you know?
Well, you have to finish what you start, because if I had said to Chad, "That's a great idea, I'll think about that,"
Yeah,
I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now. And
right.
I we share something in common besides guitar. When I was 10, I was a child actor. I did
Yeah.
like 15 national spots. I worked with Eddie Albert.
Yeah, I
And,
know. Yeah,
and
I know that about you.
so, that was an experience that was just thrown to me that I did had no idea what it meant, but I do now. I know exactly what it meant. It was an opportunity for me to learn how to do things, how to be in front of people, how to take photographs, how to interact, which helped me a great deal when I got this guy and started running around with a tape saying, "Here's my music." I remember
Right.
running around in Holland in 19 God, it was what, 82 in the rain in Hilversum with EMI Records telling me, "Well, we like what you do, kid. We might want to make a record." I was like 19 or 20. But
That's
even
great.
though I didn't get the record deal, I had all these guys like Hans Wendel from ECM Records encouraging me to come over and bring my band. Now, they said bring your band over, so what did we do? In '84, I booked a self-booked tour of Germany, and we played gigs in Berlin and Munich, and we were in the Süddeutsche Zeitung, and but I had this stuff with Martin guitars. I was in an ad with Steve Howe, and we had a little EP. You put those pieces together, and then you build something, and you keep building, and that's all I'm doing. I'm continuing the journey of building.
I think it's tremendous. So as we wrap this up, where are you going next? Where will people be seeing you?
So on August 27th, I'll be playing in Santa Rosa, California at the California. I'll be doing Planets.
Mhm.
And on the 29th of August, I will be in Weaversville at a place called I think it's called gosh, it's a performing arts theater. The name is
Doesn't
escaping me.
matter. It's in Weaverville.
Yeah, we'll put it on the website. I'll give those dates. Those two dates are coming up, and then I'm going to be doing the Rocky Mountain Art Stop Festival in September
Right.
near Denver, and then whatever.
I am a huge, I'm a huge proponent of that. Let me tell you the irony of that. A huge proponent of that. I was obviously at the first one. We do a lot of advertising. Hendrickson is one of our clients, and I mean it's a great festival. I was at the first two, um, and then the last one I was unfortunately I had a health issue and couldn't come. And I was so excited about this one. I couldn't wait to get there and blah, 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 blah. Well, when good news trumps good news, not to use that name, but, they used to play a lot of Pinochle. Anyway, but when good news is surpassed by better news, you got to go with it. My son is getting married that weekend.
Oh, okay,
So it's kind of a no-brainer where I'm going to be,
of
but I'm not
course.
going to be there, and I
Right.
hate it. I mean, I want it. I really, really, it's like, well, you said we could go to you want me to go to Disneyland? Oh, you want me to go to, I mean, this other amazing, it's crazy, but I hate it that we're not going to be there. But the Rocky Mountain Art Shop Festival is definitely for guitar players that enjoy this music. Is definitely the place to be. So that's really, really cool. So we're talking about Carol's Crater. It's available, I'm assuming, on all the usual spots.
All the music platforms. In fact, it's really getting a lot of attention, and I'm asking all that see this, go download it or go get a copy of it because it's a really, really incredible piece, not just because I wrote it, but because of what stands behind it. And I'm so grateful to be a part of that, to have just that Artemis mission and the fact that Reed Wiseman is involved in the fact that he supports it, and we've got Space Channel and we've got Artist Max and Marshmallow Skies. So it's not just me; it's a whole bunch of
No,
people.
I think it's fantastic. I mean, I really do, and I loved the video. Let's talk about the video for just a minute. I mean, a lot of people put out videos, with their music, things that they self-produce and all that kind of thing. This is not a video. This is a movie, if you will. I mean, I mean, I know a little bit about that, as you probably would guess.
Right.
And I'm looking at this thing, I'm going, holy crap. Wait a minute, who paid for this? Because,
Well,
there's
that's
no,
Space Channel. That's
pardon
Chad.
me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I mean,
Space Chad's really good at that. In fact, we're talking. He's got now the Space Channel's back up. It's if you go to spacechannel.com, he's got a dedicated page to all my gigs and all my
yeah.
different things. And we're talking about now. Carol's Crater is done. We're gonna do some more music that will be a whole album of the Artemis 2 moon mission kind of thing. And I'm gonna pull Paul Wertico in for some stuff.
It's
So
a
it'll.
it's a beautiful piece of work visually and sonically. It really is.
Thank you.
Well, listen, man, thank you so much for bringing this to us. We really appreciate it. Again, tell Lori I said hello and the
I will
best
do
to
that.
you. And our stage is your stage. Anytime you want to get together and talk, you know how to reach me.
I appreciate it.
We're for you anytime you want to talk. Say hi to Norm for me.
I will do that, and I will get him to get in touch with you about doing something.
Well,
So,
either that or let if you just give me his contact information
yeah,
and he'll recognize
who
that
you are.
it's yeah, it's me that's calling, or because I don't know about you. Well, I don't want to go there, but I mean, the phone rings a lot, and I just, unless I know who it is, I don't.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
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 we're not alone. I mean, it's everybody's the same way. The bots that, it's like, go away.
yeah. I got those in New Zealand a bunch like
Oh
that.
man. Listen, thank you so much. And
Thank you, man.
congratulations. It's a beautiful piece of work.
Thanks, man.
I love the new guitar from Heritage.
So do I.
It's looking great. There is a story with the Million Miler. We're gonna have to do a story on that guitar. Because
Okay.
hey, a guitar that's gone 35 years on the road,
Yeah.
and that's the only guitar you play.
That's that. The main guitar is, yeah, and it was the main guitar. I had a couple others, but yeah, the last probably 25 years, it's been the
Yeah, I mean
only.
it's the one I recognize you with. I mean, you're like Larry Carlton with the
1.
335. I mean, it's like, that's if Larry shows up with that Strat, we all go, oh, where's Larry? What have you done with him?
Right.
All right, man. Thank you.
Well,
All the best. David
take
Becker,
care, man.
Bob Baker
Okay.
for Jazz Guitar Today. See you, man. Bye bye.